Hey, 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 how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Deliberate Live stream. I'm Rosemary Nonny Knight, or RNK for short. Woohoo! So I'm going to read out something I was reading this morning. Are there not 12 hours of daylight in every day? You can go through a day without the fear of stumbling when you walk in the one who gives light to the world. But you will stumble when the light is not in you, for you'll be walking in the dark. Now, this was something that Jesus said, okay, and he was about to return to a place where they tried to kill him, actually, and his disciples are like, "Are you serious? You're gonna go back to that place where they were trying to kill you, really?" And he's like, there's 12 hours of daylight every day. You can go through a day without fear of stumbling when you walk in the one who gives light to the world. And the thing that came up for me as I was reading through that was, first of all, I had no idea what the dude was talking about, frankly, truth be told. And then I kind of read it in a different translation and I realized, because this is what happens in life, you do something once, you get a bad result, or something doesn't quite work out the way you thought it would. But then you start to get this, so you go off and do something else. But then you get this intuitive nudge inside of you, spirit within is trying to get your attention, telling you to do exactly the same thing again. And you're thinking, yeah, but I did that last time, and it didn't work. And for most people, that would be the end of it. Because in some ways, they would rather walk with reason and logic rather than actually walk with intuitive guidance. Now, for us, we must recognize that even though something didn't quite work the last time, if you get asked, if you get that nudge inside of you to go do something, understand that that nudge inside of you, your intuitive nudge, is actually more trustworthy than your experience. Literally. Because you don't see the full picture. It may feel foolhardy, just like in this case, it felt to the disciples. In fact, they were like, okay, fine, we'll come with you, but we expect him to die, basically. But he wasn't. Why? Because he was walking in the one who gives light to the world. He was walking based on his intuition, based on spirit within him. He knew that he needed to do this thing, even though it seemed fallacy to do it. And so I ask you, where are you holding back from doing the thing that you know you need to do because maybe you tried it once and it's like, well, that did not work for me. I tried that. I tried to have that conversation with that person and they were just annoying. I'm not going back there again. I tried to get that business off the ground and it was just horrible and I went bankrupt and my life is over. I am not doing that again. And yet there's a part of you that knows you kind of need to do it. There's this nudge inside of you saying, honey, I know it seems as though it would fail again, but this time I've got your back. This time I am on your side. This time you can trust that I know more than you can see. And that's the key thing here with us, with following intuition as a deliberate people. It's just that recognition that we only see a very small portion of what is happening. Most of the time, we are basing all of our decisions on fear or experience, the past, and that is the logical thing to do, right? It is logical to think, well, if I did this last time and this resulted, that means it must always be that way. But it's not the truth. It's not the truth. It's like, okay, if we're talking about a business, somebody could start a business 1 year, fail dismally, come back 5 years later, do exactly the same thing, and somehow it works this time. Because this time, they followed intuitive guidance rather than just, I just want to do whatever, however. And well, everybody else seems to be doing it, so let me just do that. No. You need to have that clear guidance inside of you that says, this is the way, walk in it. And then you walk in it. It does take a heck of a lot of trust, but for most of us, come on now. You've tried doing life completely on your own, in your own wisdom. You've got so far. I'm not going to take that away. I got so far. But then I realized, if I really want to go all the way, it's going to demand something more than just me. It's going to demand something more than just me. There's going to be an element of surrender in this. If I am going to live out the call on my life, then there's going to be an element of surrender. And I had to, in order to start living, creating, building the vision, as I saw it in my mind's eye, because I can get so far on my own, for sure, honey. It's just like you, I'm sure. We're all hard workers. We will push, we will do whatever we need to do. But sometimes you need that guidance. You need that internal wisdom that goes beyond something that you know or have experienced. It's not a religious thing. It is a spirit that connects everything. It's trying to get your attention, to guide you in the way to go. Because that wisdom within you sees a heck of a lot more than you do. So as long as you're walking in intuition, there need not be fear. But you will stumble, as Jesus goes on to say here, you will stumble when the light is not in you, for you'll be walking in the dark. Because that's when when you're just trying to do it all, you're trying to just figure it all out. And you know what? Yes, our brains were given us, so I'm not saying don't use them. I am saying that you do want to get that guidance every single day, every single minute. You want to know what is the best thing I can do. I say this to all of my clients. You want to be asking that question all through the day. What is the best thing I can do here? Because our tendencies are to act on fear. And that's not enough for us to live out the life of abundance, of fulfillment, of freedom. Because if it was enough, everybody would be doing it, basically. But it's not enough. What happens is that most people tend to live by rules that other people have put in place, rules that don't necessarily work for them, but they try to silence the hunger in their soul that says there must be more. They think, well, maybe there isn't. Maybe I just need to settle. And that to me is walking in darkness, because then you're just settling for other people's ideas of what is possible for you, when actually you are capable of a heck of a lot more than you give yourself credit for. So honey, are you walking in light? Are you walking in the light, or are you stumbling around in the darkness thinking, what? Basically, I mean, there's always, even when you're walking in the light, there's an element of feeling like, what? But then you tap into guidance again, and you realize you're not alone in this. You are not alone in this. There is a wisdom deep within you, spirit within you, who wants you to prosper in all of your ways. If you will lean in, if you will listen, if you will trust, and if you will act on what you hear. Because it's one thing to pray and beg and plead and, oh, please, God, help me. It's another thing to then actually hear the guidance and act on it. Because that's the thing, miracles are found on the path, on the narrow path. It's as you get on that path, by following through on these intuitive nudges inside of you, then you reach the goal, then you reach the vision. Then the vision even expands beyond what you thought it could be. Because there's always something better in store for you than you can even imagine, if you will have the courage and the faith to listen to the guiding light within you, rather than just dependent on experience and your past and all of that stuff, which sounds so reasonable because that is the way of the world. And we live in the world, so, I get it. But you want more, right? In which case you need to step into the deliberate life where you're living a life of intuitive guidance. You're improving, or what's the word? You're enhancing your intuition. Who is that? I was listening to Richard Branson, for goodness sake, and he was like, he makes all of his decisions from emotion. To me, that is intuition. Whereas most people would say, no, we have to be logical about it. You can't build $1 billion business on emotion. But you know what? The ones that have did. Did. They followed that voice inside of them that said, this is the way to go. They don't always give it a spiritual name, but it is the same thing, you know? That is the light. That is the guidance, if you will follow it. So if you don't take it from me, take it from a billionaire. Okay. Okay. Until the next time, my honeys. Now, if you haven't received my book, what's it called? Pray, Affirm, Receive. Go get it. It's at rosemaryonlynight.com/book gift, and it will help you in getting clear on, or getting your intuition clear, so you start hearing it a lot clearer, basically, as well as a lot of other things that will help you consider, so you start to walk in freedom, and you start to walk in fulfillment, and you start to walk in abundance. Go get the book. It's at rosemaryonlynight.com/book gift. Hit the share button wherever you are listening to this. Let other people hear it too, or tag somebody in. Until the next time, my honey, much amazing love.